Good day, everyone. This is Polly Needles, and welcome to DDO Players News, where we take a look at the latest news in DDO and on the tabletop. And please welcome my co-host from Ravenloft, Dracula.
Hello, everybody. How's it going?
Hello there, Drac. How are things going in Barovia?
Same crap, different day.
All right. And I'd like you all to also welcome our special guest for tonight, Cordovan.
Hey, how's it going, everyone? Thanks for being here.
Hello. Welcome, Cord, back to the show.
I was just gonna say, October. Can you have a better time to be in Ravenloft?
No, it's the best time of the year in Ravenloft right now.
I mean, the mists won't let you leave, but you don't want to anyway.
See, that's true. I mean, we have undead, we have gypsies, we have vampire. We have it all here in Ravenloft for you.
Everything you would ever want.
That's right. You cannot ask for more. Come to Barovia. Stay forever.
What if someone loves sunshine?
Then they're gonna have a hard time being here. I'm just saying.
Hopefully, you've got a big radiant item, and you
Just keep that away from me, and then you'll be okay.
A big radiant item.
But no, thanks, Cord, for being here. And it was super last minute too. So.
Well, to be honest, I've been kind of working. I'm working late tonight anyway because I just got back from a long kind of camping trip, and obviously we have a lot going on in DDO, which is why we'll be talking tonight. So I'm just kind of sitting here this evening, getting caught up on a whole bunch of things. So why not join you and chat?
All right. Now, first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to double check on this. Is it Cordovan or Cordovan?
Yes, is the official answer. I could say it's, I could give you the truth, which is that I just don't know how to say things. And then I figured out how to say it. And I said, well, I guess I should probably call it that then. But the other thing is, it's the Keith Baker School. We're based in Eberron, and pronunciations are whatever you want it to be. So when I first saw the word, I was like, Cordovan, that's great. And then people were like, no, it's actually Cordovan for Cordovan leather shoes. And I was like, well, okay, well, that's fine. I'm made of leather. That's fine.
Well, see, yeah, that's what I always thought it was. I always thought it was Cordovan is what I personally thought it was.
I think technically the people who determine such things have determined that is the proper way to say it. But I personally don't care.
Then let's head into our game news, where the first item on our list is the one that we've all been wanting to know information-wise, and that is that we have pre-orders up for Fables of Feywild.
We do indeed, and you can find that by going to DDO.com, click on the DDO market, go to new expansions. That'll filter it for whatever geolocation, whether you're in, Tokyo or Tempe, Arizona. It'll sort everything out for you.
And I'll have a link to that down in the show notes as well. So it can be easy to get to. And this is, if I am not mistaken, I don't remember ever hearing the actual name of the expansion until now. Did you announce it before and I just missed it?
I think I let it slip last week when I was talking to somebody and I said Fables of the Feywild publicly. But other than that, I don't think it's been out there yet.
Yeah, I didn't think so. So yeah, we will take a look at what you get. If you have been around in DDO for the last couple of expansions, not going to be shocked at any of this. It's pretty much set up just like Sharn was, and similar to how Ravenloft was. There's going to be 3 editions that you can get: $39.99, $79.99, and $129.99. That's going to be for your standard, collectors, and your ultimate. Let's talk about kind of the differences between the editions. Your standard edition is going to get you the Fables of the Feywild content, of course, and also access to the Shifter race. And that is the $39.99 bundle.
And I guess I could tag along, although I think we did this for Ravenloft too, that this was in part based on community feedback that we include a new race in the base edition, as opposed to, say, just the content, which at one point we had was maybe more standard practice.
And then your collector's edition is got the Fables of the Feywild content, of course. You get the shifter race. Also get the new Universal Tree and the Feywild Mosaic Cosmetics, $79.99 for that one.
Now, the new Universal Tree, that's the Illusionist Tree?
Yes.
Okay.
And then the Ultimate Fan Bundle gets you all of the extra goodies. Fables of the Feywild content, of course. Shifter Race. The Universal Tree as well. The Feywild Mosaic and Winter Aladrin Cosmetics. The Razor Claw Iconic Hero. The Displacer Best let's try that again. Displacer Beast Pet. Say that several times fast. Also get the Koshi Cosmetic Pet, the Sitar Bard Hireling, both a heroic and an epic version of that. And, of course, you're going to get the Black Unicorn Mount, yes please, and a White Unicorn Mount. Also an instant teleport item to Feywild. And a Tome of Destiny +1 for all your characters, and that is the $129.99 bundle.
No, go ahead.
I could just see the two of us writing together in our series. You writing the Black Unicorn, and I'm writing the White Unicorn.
That's exactly what it's going to be. I can guarantee you.
I was going to say that we have had some questions about what is a Tome of Destiny +1, and what that does is it adds 1 point to each of your Epic Destiny trees that you can spend. So it's an extra point for any of your Epic Destiny trees that you have active, right?
Okay.
I was going to ask if you could explain, because I was not exactly sure what that Tome of Destiny +1 was. So thank you for that.
We also have an item called the Tome of Fate, which has been around for quite some time, which gives you a Fate point, which is a sort of a thing that you do in your Epic Destiny system. But this is different from that. This just gives you an extra point to spend in your active Epic Destiny.
And then let's talk a little bit about just what the heck is actually in our new expansion, upcoming Fables of the Feywild. There is going to be one new raid, and we do have a question in the chat from DDO Central about that. I'll get to that question here in a second for you, DDO Central. You're going to get one raid, and then you're going to get new quest, and there is going to be, is it 7 new dungeons? I think it's 7.
No, 13.
Oh,
right?
13 new
I'm
dungeons.
going off the top of my head. Let me double check that page, but I'm pretty sure the answer is 13, right? Yes, 13 quests, a wilderness area, a new public zone, and a raid.
All right. And what level?
Level 5 on heroic, and I believe, oh gosh, is it 32 on what ends up being legendary?
Oh, level 5. Ooh.
Yeah, level 5. And speaking of the one raid, DDO Central is asking, why is there only one raid for this expansion this time?
No real secret or anything there. It was simply a matter of scoping out the content plans that we had and allocating resources respectively. The last couple of expansions, we have had, I guess, what you might call one main raid, which you unlocked by playing through the quest arc, and then kind of a side raid, as it were, which was really just sort of open to anyone. And this time around, we're just doing one raid that you'll find out more about as we get closer to it. But there's no real, I guess, specific reason other than we wanted to get as much content as we could into Feywild, and this is how it fell out this time.
He also says, are you afraid of the raid addicts going into a draw because they only can have one new raid?
No, I think it should be good. Also, keep in mind, Update 47 here did bring, although these are classic raids that our heavy raiders are well familiar with, new legendary versions of Master Artificer, Lord of Blades, and Vision of Destruction. So I think we're going to, hopefully, fingers crossed, be able to satisfy the needs of the raiding community here, even if Feywild has the one raid.
And then also, DDO Central asks, why is there no unicorn cosmetic pet, a.k.a. Uni? No.
Right.
No. No.
We should. You're right. We're gonna have to The expansion is canceled.
You heard it here first. Canceling it until we can get Uni in there. Oh God, Uni! I hated that stupid unicorn.
They could save that for the first patch afterwards.
There you go. Also included in the expansion is going to be improvements to the augment system, and of course, new augments. We're going to get some new D&D monsters as well. The Displacer Beast, which I have been waiting for forever. That is one of my favorite monsters in D&D, is the Displacer Beast. Of course, unicorns, going to get blink dogs, koshis, and more. And I know
more.
somebody asked me, I don't remember who it was now, asked me, what the heck is a koshi?
I would need to do a quick Google search myself on that, but it's in the Dungeons and Dragons 5th edition monster manual. It's it's part of the standard D&D
Right, it's
monster, as it were.
yeah, it's an elven dog is what they're also known as. Elves usually use them as like scouts. They'll send them out to scout for them. Usually, if I remember right, in D&D lore, wood elves use them a lot. They're like their pets and their scouts.
All right. Yeah, sounds good to me.
Now-
I did also, let's say, on the Displacer Beast, just within the last hour or so, we did put out a quick video of the Displacer Beast. It's just a 30-second teaser video, but you can see the Displacer Beast in action, even just fighting a regular player character, if you want to see kind of how it looks in action here, without having to go to our preview server or anything. You can do that after the show. It's just a 30-second video.
Yeah, I am so excited about the Displacer Beast.
Yeah. All right, I have to look at that when it's over with, because that's the first thing I saw on my YouTube subscriber feed was that video.
Then we have the new playable character race, of course, the Shifter. Did you want to say anything else about the monsters? I thought you had a question finally.
I was wondering, did I read somewhere that there are going to be Fomians in there?
Yes, Fomorian.
Fomorians. Yeah, I always
Yes.
get that name wrong.
You could even take a look at them. They're the middle picture here over on that expansion page. The one to the right of what I'm pretty sure off the top of my head is the Eladrin Winter Court, but the one in the middle is the Fomorians.
All right.
Have to look at that. And then we've got the Universal Enhancement Tree, which is the Feydark Illusionist. And I think that's about it. That's in the expansion. It's going to be very, very fun. DDO Central is also asking, you guys going to do a trailer for the expansion like you have done in the past?
Stay tuned. I believe the answer is yes.
There you go. So there you go. I'm excited about this. We knew pre-orders were coming soon, trademark, and soon is now. So go pre-order today. Like I said, there will be a link down in the show notes for this. If you just want to go right there, but also I think Cordovan did say earlier the link, but like I said, I'll have it linked for you in the show notes, so it'll be super easy.
Yep. Yeah, our URL is a little weird right now, but we're working on it. We just rolled out a new store. One of the advantages of this new store, which we wanted to get in place for our launch of the pre-purchase for Fables of the Feywild here, is that you don't have to deal with codes anymore. The number of just kind of issues, confusion, where did it go? It didn't get to the right email. Why is it in my clutter? Et cetera, of trying to apply key codes to your account is a thing of the past with this new DDO store. You simply log into your game account through the purchase flow, and it automatically applies the expansion to your account. That means at the moment that we do not have gifting, although that is something that we're actively working on. I would expect to hear about that, hopefully in the near future. But we're also going to be expanding this, probably, let's say, 2021 goal of getting all the other stuff from the DDO market into this kind of new structure and flow. So it hopefully will be a more modern and perhaps easy process to make these purchases.
Another question from DDO Central is there any notable voiceover actors you can announce?
Oh, I'm sorry, I don't know the answer to that question. I need to look it up.
Stay tuned. We'll get that
Yeah,
answer.
I
for
wasn't, because I'm not already hanging around the office right now. I'm working
Right.
from home. I haven't really had much visibility on the voiceover process this time.
Ah,
But I haven't been. We're going to talk about Lamani here in a second. I haven't been on, but usually in the past, all the DM stuff is usually not in on at least the first Lamania. So I doubt it's there now. But like I said, I haven't actually been on Lamania
No, that is
myself.
true. But I don't. I'm pretty sure it was recorded, if not last week, or the week before, or at least the bulk of it. I just don't actually know who was picked for the voice actors this time.
Cool. Excellent. So that is just a little talk and look at the expansion that you can pre-order now. So go do that. Is there anything else
we
you
did
want to add?
actually say when it's going to be released.
Oh,
said
yeah.
in the thing, November 4th.
I was going to bring that up. Yeah, and it's actually going to be November 4th because and I'm sure you've had many lawyers write this for you. And I quote, "This is a pre-purchase. Some content will be only delivered with the launch of the expansion. Dungeons & Dragons Online Fables of the Feywild expansion is scheduled for release on November the 4th, 2020. In the event of a delay, you will receive the expansion content and items no later than December 4th, 2020.
My attorneys would like to tell your attorneys to tell you that you need to reread that because you missed at least 3 or 4 trademark TMs.
Yes, I did. I am so sorry about the trademark missing there. My lawyer will be in contact later.
now was there something you wanted to say about the shifter drac? Because I think you were about to start to talk about that when I asked about the Fomori.
No, I was just saying the shifter is included, and we've kind of talked about that a little bit.
All right.
And I know you, for one, are super excited. I mean, I'm excited, but you're super excited about the shifter.
I didn't think I was super excited.
Oh, okay.
But
the basic idea of shifters, maybe for those who are like, okay, what is a shifter? I assume they shift, right? Yes, they take on sort of bestial elements in their form. They don't shapeshift like, say, a werewolf traditionally would or something like that. They more take on bestial aspects of themselves. And this is per lore of Dungeons & Dragons. And we're, well, at least 5e here. And we're, bringing a pretty faithful version of that, I believe, to the game here with Fables of the Feywild. So not only are they going to be good for a whole bunch of different roles, but there's also a barbarian type specifically in our iconic, the Razor Claw Shifter. And one of the things the Razor Claw Shifter has is if you have hand wraps on, that's where you're getting your claw bonus item type stuff. You'll actually have special animations like claw attacks and stuff that show up on the screen and things like that. It's pretty rad. Also, just to maybe help decipher some of this for the less D&D inclined, the Fade Arc Illusionist Universal Enhancement Tree is going to allow you to cast illusion type things. It's got spell-like abilities, which allows you to cast various illusion spells natively at a much lower cost. And then also, this is what, for, I guess, 2+ years now, was the rumored, quote, familiar tree. So although it's not specifically a familiar tree, it's a little broader in scope than that. One of the core features of it is that you will be sort of summoning a familiar to help you in battle. It's a little bit like the falconry tree, where it doesn't have like its own action bar or anything. It sort of attacks as you attack, and you'll be selecting one of a bunch of different familiar types that you can select, including a cat for those who like cats.
Actually, now that tree is the one that I'm excited about.
If you ever said, I would play DDO if I could only have a cat, then not only am I happy to inform you that you have been able to a while because of our creature companions, but now you can have 2.
And one will even attack things for you. That's right.
Anyway,
I did have a quick question that I thought of. The white unicorn and the black unicorn mount, any difference to them other than the color?
I don't believe so. I think it's simply cosmetic.
I was not sure if one was faster or not.
No, they all run at the same 100% speed, so that would be the same speed that you would get for the mount from, say, the Keep on the Borderlands Warrior bundle. They don't go faster or slower than anything else. The mounts you get in game for free, you have to upgrade their speed a little bit by um, running the Keep on the Borderlands content. But otherwise, any of the mounts you buy, say, whether it be from Feywild here or the Keep on the Borderlands bundle, or presumably any bundle going forward, it's just going to be the standard 100% mount speed.
Okay. And then on the Bard Hireling, what made you guys decide to go with a Bard Hireling this time?
I don't know. I don't know exactly why Bard, other than it's one of a handful of requests we've had over the years. You
Okay.
know, hey,
Yeah.
if you do a hireling, can it be a Bard?
Okay.
So that's it. Well, we've done a lot more of our tanky types recently. You know, we've
Right,
got
yeah.
the Shield Guardian. We've got the Owl Bear, the other thing, and so having a Bard type seemed to be different enough in what it would offer that it just seemed like the thing to do. There are some other options we could have gone with too. That list is pretty long, but I think this time around it seemed like Bard was the right choice.
Looks like that it was DDO Central's idea, looks like.
Yeah, he said he suggested this exact same in the exact same thing in the forums.
I was not a part of the actual selection process this time. My guess would be that it settled on Satyr, and then when it was Satyr, it pretty quickly probably settled on Bard.
Which
Yeah.
makes sense, yeah.
It is definitely relevant. I mean, the
Oh,
the only
yeah.
other possibility is a unicorn, but that might be a little bit tricky to fit lore-wise, I guess. Let's head into update 48 preview, because apparently it has already come to Lamania.
As of today.
Ooh.
It has, yeah. 1014 through 1016 is the schedule for update 48 preview 1, which, of course, update 48 is our upcoming expansion, Fables of the Feywild. If you did not know what update 48 is. This has 7 of the new dungeons on Lamania. It's also got the new named loot and new augments. Coco Mojobo did make a little note that this is just a sampling of the new augments unique to the Feywild. The new augment system and conversions of all augments to the new system will not be in preview 1.
Yeah, we have a couple of previews scheduled. I think it's going to be in the range of 2 to 3. I think 3. And so this is our first preview where you can really get a sense of the areas, 7 of the quests. We'd love to get some content feedback. I know some people don't like to get spoiled, but if you're okay with it, we sure would love your feedback on that stuff. But this is our first preview, so there's a lot that just isn't in yet in terms of music, dungeon master stuff, final polish, things like that. So, it's a first preview.
And that's kind of to be expected too. I mean, if you go on Lamania, I think everybody knows it's preview. It is what it is, and that's what it's there for, because they want you to say, "Hey, I found this bug, this problem," and that's what they want, and that's what they need to make it better.
And we did want to get initial feedback on the loot and the augments and our augment systems, stuff that we're doing, things like that. So you can actually get a big rundown on all that loot if you want to get crunchy with it over on the Lamania forums. And that we wanted to do that so that if we had overwhelming feedback one way or the other, we were able to respond to it. So far, the feedback has been pretty good, though.
And as always, there's going to be a dev event that's going to take place Thursday, October the 15th from 8 to 10 p.m. Eastern. So if you're listening live, that's going to be Thursday, which is tomorrow evening. If you're listening to this on podcast, you probably missed it, or it might be upcoming. I'm going to try to get this released tomorrow. So if you listen to this in the morning, it's tonight. Again, time travel and podcasting is weird. So it depends if you're in the future or if you're now. But those dev events are usually, I try to get to them as much as I can on the Mania because they are always fun.
Well, what exactly are they?
It's really a chance where if you actually ever thought, I sure would love to run a dungeon with the actual person who created the dungeon watching me do it, that is the purpose of these dev events. We actually go into groups, we'll go into dungeons, sometimes visibly, sometimes invisibly. They will be over in what's called our test dojo, which is a big kind of preview space that helps get people easily leveled up and geared up and whatever they need to do, and do actual text style Q&A back and forth. So if you have feedback specifically about update 48 here, we tend to try to keep it semi-focused, right? But if you've got some feedback on that, it's a great way to actually pick the brains of the people who are in the pits making the changes.
And then is character copy going to be available?
Yeah, I believe so.
Okay.
Should be.
Excellent. Once again, Lamania is going to run from now until Friday, October the 16th, sometimes in the afternoon Eastern. So hopefully you can get some time in the next couple of days to check out Preview 1.
And if you don't want to go into Lamani and check out the upcoming update 48, then perhaps you want to enjoy the update 47 that came out earlier this week.
It did, and this did. I think Cordovan touched on it a little earlier, but this does bring in the new legendary raids. 3 of the classic DDO raids have been given a legendary update. A Vision of Destruction, Lord of Blades, and the Master Artificer are now available to run at level 32. Also, these raids no longer require playing the prerequisite quest to flag for them on any difficulty, and the quest givers for these raids will now teleport you directly to the raid without needing to traverse the landscape.
Which is really important for these 3 raids in particular, because they were made back in a sort of game creation time where there was large, especially say Lord of Blades and Master Artificer have actual raid landscapes that you need to be in a raid group to go get to
Good
the raids.
grief.
And Vision of Destruction is in the subterranean, which I think
Yeah.
people know tends to be sort of a maze-like underground area. So being able to teleport immediately to these raids without having to know how to get there, frankly, is going to open these raids up to a huge number of people.
Yeah, the couple times I've done Vision of Destruction, thank God I was with somebody that actually knew where to go, because I'd be lost in a minute down there. so yeah, that's very welcome. We do have a new free dungeon as well. It's called the Promise of Flame, a new standalone dungeon. It's for levels 6 and 27. It is a free quest to all players. You can find the quest giver, Lady Sarah James, in the Searing Heights Wilderness Adventure area, and the dungeon itself is located in the Searing Heights as well.
What, a second dungeon for the Searing Heights?
I know, right? It's one of those wilderness areas that's been in the game for a very long time as well, and just never really had a lot in it until back in the day when we put the one quest from House Deneth, right? Deneth? Yeah, Deneth in there. And so now we have a second one. It's a free one, and hopefully people should dig it. And it's level 6 and 27. And the wilderness area is a low-level wilderness area, around level 6 too. So,
which I haven't actually not run this yet. I'm looking forward to checking this dungeon out.
Yeah, I did a video of it already. I posted part 1 of the video 2 days ago, and part 2 of it is coming out tonight. And now have the complete dungeon.
I thought that I was going to ask you if that was the new. I thought that was the new dungeon on it because I saw your video pop up in my feed, and I'm like, oh, he must be running the new stuff. Then I got a link to the release notes and the show notes for this. We're not going to go over everything because we've already talked about these, to my knowledge. The last time we talked about them, I don't think anything changed from that. I did want to point out a couple things, though. The one thing I'm super excited about, and I know a lot of people are excited about, is mounts found in the daily dice are now bound to account. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Not that I've actually pulled
mounts
one.
in the daily dice?
Yeah. You got to roll 100, and it's super. I've never actually seen one. But I know Saba Jade has gotten 2.
Oh, really? Wow.
Yes, I'm pretty sure she has gotten 2.
I'd also just point out that with a lot of the Fables of the Feywild pre-purchase falling on this patch, we also use these release notes to go into all the detail of the entire enhancement trees for, say, the Feydark Illusionist, the Shifter, and things like that. So if you really want to get a sense of statistically, all the numbers and everything, these are the release notes to look for that.
And DDO Central is saying he too has a horse from the Daily Dice as well, bound to account. So that's awesome. Also, in the Daily Dice as well, the Mystery Basket now has a new Tressum in it. So if you want a new Tressum pet, roll high and maybe you'll get it. I can't think of I think I've only ever rolled 100 maybe one time. I never roll that high on my gold roll.
Yeah. Well,
because RNG and me,
I
it's
don't know. Well, yeah. See, I seem to only get it once every 100 times I roll the dice.
I actually had two little release notes I wanted to bring up, if that's okay.
Sure, yeah.
For all you
definitely.
casters out there, wizards, orcs, bards, and warlocks, we now have the level 1 spell, Color Spray. We've long had Greater Color Spray, but for some reason just had never gotten around to making the original level 1 Color Spray, but now we do. So it's the same as Greater Color Spray, except for it doesn't cause helplessness, and you can now take that if you want to, and that's kind of nice. I think a bunch of people appreciate that. The other piece I wanted to mention is that spell DCs by your school and tactical bonuses are now visible on your character sheet. There's that details tab, which is a little plus sign, and you click on that, and you get a whole bunch of more information. In the past, it's sometimes players have been forced to calculate their own spell DCs depending on whatever it is they're doing, but all that stuff will now be updated and available to see on the character sheet.
All right. Now, concerning Color Spray, I think I heard that currently it's costing more energy than it's supposed to.
That sucks.
Yeah. But we'll hope that
we'll have to work on that. I have not heard that one myself.
Yeah,
but
I think I saw a dev acknowledge it and says, "Oops."
Whoopsie.
I think they said they already fixed.
It's probably costing whatever Greater costs, right?
So I think they said 40 instead of 10 or something like that.
So as I said, we have the full release notes in the show notes. You can get to those and go back about 4 episodes maybe, and we have when Patrick was on, I'll link that in the show notes as well. We talked about these release notes, the last Lamania build, in depth. If you want a more little in depth kind of look at all of the shifter tree and stuff like that, we did talk about that.
So clearly your wizard went to the store because you needed paint for Color Spray, and you got upsold by some, really good clerk to buy the expensive paint. And then you realize you should have just got the cheap stuff. We'll have to do
that. That's one way of explaining it. I like it.
So next we have Night Revels. It has returned because it's that time of the year again.
Night Revels! I love Night Revels.
Only a couple of notes on Night Revels for this year. First off, it's through November 3rd. It's going to basically go down for the Fables of the Feywild release patch on the 4th. At least that's the plan as of today. And either way, it'll be through November 3rd. There are no new items for this year, so we are, quote, just bringing back last year's stuff, but we're also not deprecating last year's ingredients. So typically for Night Revels, the stuff you collect during Night Revels only applies to that year. But this year, stuff from leftovers from last year will still work. And so you can, in some cases, pull that from your account bank or whatever. It'll refresh to what it needs to, and you can just spend that currency that you have left over last year. So although we don't have anything new this year per se, it is a chance for people to get some of this stuff that debuted last year for the first time and maybe get a little bit of a leg up in terms of getting there.
And also did see a note you guys are working on the dragon in there. That, I guess, is not working currently.
Correct. There's an issue with the Eternity Unleashed quest in there where the pillars that you need to knock down to make the dragon vulnerable to your attacks are not working correctly. We think that may actually be related to, as a halo to something else that's also going on. We've seen a couple of reports of Vault of Night Part 6 perhaps not functioning correctly, and we're currently investigating that right now. But my understanding is that that may be the same issue. So when we fix one, we should hopefully, fingers crossed, fix both.
And that is going to be fixed in an upcoming hotfix, I would assume?
Yeah, tentatively set for next week. No specific ETA other than that to announce, but we have a list of things that we just found in the last, 24 to 36 hours here that we're putting together for a small patch next week.
Excellent. So yes, Night Rebels now through November 3rd.
Finally, another thing that's relevant for October is Extra Life. And of course, we all know that Standing Stone Games traditionally has a team in there, and that Cordovan is quite active in this, assuming he gets time to do it.
Yeah. No, every year we do Extra Life, and this is a big year for us because we're teaming up throughout all of the Daybreak published game studios. So, the us and Cold Iron and Rogue Planet and the rest of them, right? That are all doing their thing, and we're kind of all working together to really hype things up for a game day event on November 7th, which will be on all of our respective channels. So, it's not like we're going to be hanging out in the same room or whatever, but we're really working together this year to raise awareness for and money for Extra Life. And so far it's been going really, really well. We're really excited to do it. And Standing Stone Games is going to be helping get things started here, although we didn't actually need to, come to find out, with a $5,000 donation to Extra Life this year. However, we're already at beyond 10,000 last I looked, and I think we're actually crossed 14,000 today.
You are more than that, actually. Standing, let's see. I just updated the page. According to the Standing Stone Extra Life page, you're at $20,435.
This just happened in the last hour or so. Then that donation from SSG, kind of went through, and so now we have hit our goal of 20,000. We just launched late last week, so
that's
I guess
amazing.
We're going to have to raise that goal maybe a little bit, but nonetheless, amazing.
Yeah, that is amazing. That is awesome. Once again, I think I say this every year we talk about Extra Life. The Lotro community and the DDO community is just amazing. And we always come together for Extra Life. And it's just amazing to see what the people in this community do to help out the kids for Extra Life. Because that's what it's all about, is the kids in all the respective hospitals.
Yeah, absolutely. So Team Standing Stone Games itself is raising money for the Boston Children's Hospital. This is what we have done every year. Individual members of the teams are welcome to select their own hospital to raise funds for. It's all good to me. I don't really care who's donating to who, frankly, in terms of, say, the incentives you can get for DDO, which we'll be talking about shortly, presumably. Mm-hmm. Just the main thing is that you're able to support Extra Life, support this cause, and then get me a little bit of info as to, hey, this is Joe, I gave you $10, or I gave Drac $10, or whatever it ends up being, right? So I can get you your stuff.
And and of course you can donate to Jerry himself if you would like, our Standing Stone, as he said. You, sir, had a $3,000 goal, and you have smashed that exceedingly well. You are at $14,811 as of this recording.
Well, again, I don't want to take too much credit for that. Remember that 5,000 donation went through my personal thing just to make it all easy, I think.
Right,
but still,
really come on, yeah.
Appreciate it, yes, and it's really because we've done this, I think, for quite a few years now. The DDO and Lotro players who are involved and want to help out, they just kind of get used to it, right? So they know October's coming around. They know they want to make some charitable donations, and so they every year it seems to sort of happen more immediately because people are just like, yeah, I'll do another $50 this year, sure, of course, right? It's all tax deductible, remember.
And you did say there are some incentives, so let's talk about those a little bit.
Right. So there are group incentives and there are individual incentives. We've already unlocked all of the group incentives as of what this past hour here. So we'll be giving away dozens of 500 DDO point codes. Anyone who's donated at least $10 to Extra Life and has gotten me their info so that I can put them on the random draw list, uh, we'll be doing random drawings and we'll be giving away dozens of picks from the community loot list, which are like a bunch of cosmetic items and other cool things. We'll talk about that in a smidge, maybe. And then these point codes and other things as well. And now that we've crushed our goal, we'll be giving away a copy of the Ultimate Edition of Fables of the Feywild. That drawing, though, is going to happen on November 15th. So keep in mind, that's theoretically 11 days after Feywild gets released. But we are giving away an Ultimate Edition of that to anyone to one person who has donated at least $10 to the cause.
And then if anybody is not familiar with what the community loot list is,
it's a list of cosmetic items, kind of fun event items, old items from the archives dating back to 2006. Over the years, we've been able to put together a list, generally when players in that say, hey, whatever happened to the insert whatever here, and we were able to find it and resurrect it, and we've often added that stuff to the community loot list. Additionally, we have a few creature companions and consumables and things that have been made for various real life events over the years, like Penny Arcade and Gen Con, that sort of thing. And this is an opportunity to get codes for that sort of thing. None of this is going to really give you much in the way of power in game. There's one item that gives you a nice jump. That's about it. And there are a few consumables that'll help you out, but most of this is fun-related items. And these are items that we just sort of keep as a big giveaway community loot list. We'll give them sometimes away for events, but usually for things like these charity drives. So if you donate, $5-10 or something, you can pick something up here and help out a good cause at the same time.
Yeah, I'm trying to figure out hand sanitizer.
Hand sanitizer is awesome. You need the hand sanitizer, finally.
2020 more than ever, right?
Yes.
But that wasn't created for this, for lest anyone think that we're being rude. No, that was actually created back for the Penny Arcade Expo in 2012. We were doing a promotion about, like, we'll give you hand sanitizer and give your character hand sanitizer inside of the game if you, I believe at that time it was pre-ordered Menace of the Underdark. And we were also giving away codes for a few other things, the Winter Wolf Pet, which is also now on that community loot list. So the hand sanitizer itself actually prevents mummy rot. Not only does it get rid of mummy rot, but it prevents mummy rot for 10 minutes.
Which is why I said you need that, Pineleaf.
Oh, I see. Yeah, I need that, all right.
See, it all comes back to Pineleaf as the mummy rot magnet.
Yeah, yes. I sort of wished I had that this last week when I was running a certain dungeon.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, I do love that. It's just a funny joke because it's hand sanitizer, but yeah. Especially, like you said, now for 2020, we all need hand sanitizer. But anyway. So yeah, so awesome. So Extra Life, donate. If you can, what you can.
Yep, extra-life.org/team/SSG or extra-life.org/participant/Jerry Snook. Either of those is fine. Whoever you want to donate to is perfectly fine. But please do go and send me a private message on the forum so that I know, because I can't match up donations like that. So I need to figure out what your forum account is or something so I can actually say, get you a code if I need to. So just please, and I don't want that stuff ever going out, on a public donation list or anything. So please private message me that info on the forums. I just need to know really your forum name, how much you donated, when you donated, and what name you donated under. And that's all I need to match it all up.
And that's it for our game news. Wow, that's for our longest game news section in a long time.
Exactly. It's great. It's like we have little game news and then it's like floodgates, we have news.
Let's go and see what's coming in from the dungeon. And it looks like it's a vampire.
Not just any vampire. It's Strahd.
Oh, Strahd has been revamped.
That's right. We did talk about this a couple weeks ago. That WotC did announce they were bringing a special limited collector's edition of the Curse of Strahd adventure. It's called Curse of Strahd Revamped. This comes in a coffin. The box is an actual coffin, and the books and everything is inside of this. I did get one from WotC. WotC was kind enough to send one over for review, so I made a first look and unboxing video at it, so you can see exactly what you get out of it, and look for a review of the actual book coming soon. Spoiler alert on the review. There's nothing much new in here. They just changed a few things. They didn't add anything. They just changed a few things, mainly how the Vistani are handled. They changed a little bit about that. And then there was one other thing that they changed that I'll talk about in the upcoming review for this. But if you want to see what is in the new box set, you can check out the unboxing video.
Just out of my own curiosity, do you know if they're going to be offering some kind of printable supplement for those who already have the old Curse of Strahd?
They do, yeah. There is. You can get the Errata. You can download it from, I do believe it is on the DM's Guild. And it is free. I will double check that, but I know they do have Errata that you can get, because that's really all you need unless you want this fancy box with all the DM screens and the Taroka deck and all of that. But yes, that will be available, so you don't have to buy this just to get the new stuff.
Then let's go and see what's on the tabletop. Where we have the Origins Awards for 2020, a bit later than usual.
Yep, that's thanks to our old friend COVID. Yeah, usually these are announced at Origins. Of course, there was no Origins this year. So I don't know why they waited so long, though, which was kind of weird. They did wait a long time to announce these.
Yeah, it looks like I've got only one of these.
Yeah, I was going to ask how many of these you have or have played. But yeah, let's talk about these. The best board game of the year is Tiny Towns by AEG.
I don't know that one.
I've seen videos of it, but I haven't actually played it. Have you played Tiny Towns, Pineleaf?
Nope.
Next, best card game is Point Salad by AEG. I have played Point Salad. It's a really fun, easy game. And it's exactly what it sounds like. It is a point salad game, and you're actually using vegetables to play the game. So it's well done. I don't own it, but I have played it.
Okay.
Best family game was Quacks of Quedlinburg. It's by North Star Games.
I believe the app version of that just came out.
Yes, it did. I was going to ask if we're going to be seeing videos of that from you.
I do not at this time have this app.
Okay. Well, that answers that question. This one was kind of weird, but okay. The digital adaptation went to Cirro VR by Calliope Games and Thunderbox Entertainment Digital.
So I don't know about the VR version. I've not seen it, but I definitely know Cirro. That's a pretty light, it's a very, very light, perhaps too light for some in this audience, but not a bad game for like playing with your kids. It's almost kind of like playing a game of Snake on your phone, where you're going through a maze and trying to run people off the board and that kind of thing. I imagine it would lend itself pretty well to VR.
Yeah, I would like to actually see it, because to tell the truth, I didn't even know it was even available in VR.
So I like Cirro. I played it many times over the years with my younger kids.
Me too. Oh yeah.
It's not. Let's be honest. It's not much of a game, but it's a pretty fun game for what it is, though. If you're looking for that kind of light, just sort of activity style game, it's a real easy recommendation, and it has a really nice look and feel to the whole experience.
Just expect your just expect your dragons to fly over the edge.
Sometimes on round 2.
Yes.
Yep, gonna say usually about round 2 is when it usually happens for me. So,
Yeah.
especially with the people I play with, but that's neither here nor there. The best collectible game when again, this is kind of a okay. Marvel Hero Clicks: The Adventures, Black Panther, and the Illuminati Booster Brick by WizKids. It's a booster for a collectible game. How could it anyway? Origins Awards are kind of weird this way.
Yeah.
Sometimes some of the stuff that wins, you're like, huh?
Yeah.
The best role-playing game, Teens in Space. That's by Renegade Game Studio. The best game accessory is Citadel Contrast Paint by Games Workshop. Again, paints are. I mean,
that is. I need to know what that is. I like painting minis. I've never heard of Citadel Contrast Paint.
yeah, I'm not sure what the contrast paint. I think it just. I think you put it after you get done with your mini. I think you put the contrast on, and it adds more contrast to whatever part you would like. I think. All I know is Citadel paint is expensive, but it's good paint. I'm sure
Yeah,
my
I've
friend
got a
that's
bunch of their stuff.
my friend that's listening right now is yelling right now to explain exactly what this is because he is a big mini painter. So I'll have to tell you what he says it actually is because I probably butchered what it really is. The best miniatures game, speaking of that paint, is Warcry by Games Workshop.
How
I mean, I
about
was just
that?
gonna say I use contrast paint all the time. You contrast it with someone who knows how to paint. So this is my contrast paint, and this is someone who actually knows what they're doing. So
Yeah,
Alright.
that's
Yeah.
about mine.
Now, concerning Warcry is now I don't have this game because when I think of a game called Warcry, I think of an Avalon Hill game.
Nothing to do with it.
Nothing to do nothing to do with Richard Borg's Commands and
Nope.
Colors version of
Not
Warcry.
the same game whatsoever.
Okay, nothing about the Civil War. Okay.
Right, no. The best historical miniatures game went to Bolt Action Campaign D-Day Operation Overlord by Osprey Games / Warlord Games. And, okay, this is the one that I'm like, really? Out of all the historical games you could have picked, the winner of the Origins Award this year for the best historical game was Pandemic: The Fall of Rome by Z-Man Games.
Well, that's the one I have.
But like there's so many historical games that are out right now that have came out in the where they would be eligible for this award.
Yeah.
Pandemic: Fall of Rome is the one they picked. Okay.
what's your pick?
Oh, wow. That's a good question. There was I can't think of the exact name of it. There was a Civil War game that just came out not too long ago, late last summer by GMT that I've watched videos of and I'd actually like to get it. I'm not a big war gamer, but this game looked amazing. I would have said that one should have won. I'll have to look up the exact name of it.
And speaking of GMT, the one that came to my mind when you were saying historical ones is I was thinking Commands and Colors Medieval came out, I believe, last autumn.
Yeah, see, there you go. But okay. I mean, I don't know. Well, I guess you have played Pandemic: Fall of Rome, so is it worthy of best historical game?
I think I like CNC Medieval better.
Okay, well, there you go.
Pandemic
like I
is
said-
certainly a pretty good known quantity, though, in terms of
Oh, it
a
is,
quality
yeah.
game just as
It
a,
is.
as
Yeah.
a game. So
It just, I think last year, I don't remember what category it was. We talked about it as well because I'm just like, really, that's what they picked. The Origins Awards tend to be a little strange sometimes, but what are you gonna do? It's the committee that selects it. It's what they think and not what I think or anybody else thinks. So, but they also inducted 2 game designers, a game, and a website into the Adventure Game Hall of Fame.
Whee!
And I'm not even going to attempt to pronounce these names. Pine Leaf, it's all on you.
Well, that's always tricky when you've got when you're wondering, all right, is this a German disguise? Do you want this in German or do you want this in English or something? Like like Reinhold Wittig, looks like, or something like that. You know, I'm sure.
Sure, that's way better than I would have done. Now, Wolfgang Kramer, I can do. That's easy.
Yeah,
But yeah, that first
sounds
one,
like-
I'm like, that's all on you, Pine Leaf, because I've got no idea how to say that. So those were the two designers. And then Yahtzee by Milton Bradley / Hasbro also went into the Adventure Game Hall of Fame.
I do wonder, is like, it's listed as Milton Bradley. It has so they mentioned the current publisher rather than the original publisher. Then, because I always think of
almost
SLO
certainly,
because that was
right?
my first edition was SLO.
Yeah, but if
Yeah.
you go back in years, like I've got a version of like Concentration in that from I think 1950 something, and it was made by a small game company in Minnesota. And all these some of these long-term games have really storied kind of ownership pasts and things like
Yeah.
that. So
True.
Yeah, I think anymore when you talk about Yahtzee, everybody says Milton Bradley.
Yeah. Okay.
It's
I guess that
just-
shows you how long I've had my Yahtzee set.
Yeah. That's you. You haven't had it a long time, Pine Leaf.
that's actually a particular interest of mine. I love like when I look at flea markets and that, and I see these old game boards before they were acquired by, say, the larger companies that we know them for now, and you see the roots of some of these classic games. It's pretty interesting, actually, to look into.
Well, it's like, for example, when the game Acquire, because the edition I have was put out by 3M, which is not a company that you associate with board games.
I was gonna say like the 3M company, like the 3M company.
Yes.
I didn't know they ever did board games.
They sold their board games division to Avalon Hill.
Really?
So
I had no idea.
Yeah, so Avalon Hill put out. In fact, the original Avalon Hill edition was the same as the 3M edition, except any place where it said 3M before it then they changed it to AH. It doesn't
AH,
matter, it
of
was
course, yeah.
precise. Then they
Really?
came out with the super plasticky versions that are the type that are more similar to the version that's out today.
Huh. See, learn something every time we'd podcast, Pine Leaf. You always blow my mind somehow with some little tidbit of knowledge that probably only you would know about.
Yeah, I actually I should start digging out a few of these. I've got 3 or 4 examples I could make a quick YouTube video on or something.
That would actually be a cool video. Yeah, you should. Because I'm sure there's a lot of examples of this that most people probably wouldn't think about. And then the notable product that went into the Adventure Game Hall of Fame, of course, Board Game Geek. And the Rising Star Award for Game Designer went to Wolfgang Warsch.
So if you wanted to get an award this year, your name had to be Wolfgang.
Apparently so, yes.
I was just going to say that Board Game Geek is one of the sites that if someone decides the internet needs to go away, they at least need to save it.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
Oh yeah, I am there a lot.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And that's a look at our Origins Awards winners for the 2020.
Then let's go and ask some questions for Jerry.
Yeah, we do have DDO Central in our chat does have a couple more questions, so I thought we'd just take a little bit of time here and go over these. He asked, sorry, my screen went dark. Hold on one second. Sorry about that. Could you tell us what the status of the second season pass at the end of the year?
I guess it would be, 2 years ago now? We did a one-time season pass offering.
Mm-hmm.
And we have never announced plans to offer it again. If that ever changes, I assure you we will let you know.
Okay, and then Isle of Dread. What's the status?
We still want to do Isle of Dread, very much. We
Yes,
have
please.
opted to do, Fables of the Feywild next, as it were, which is very soon next. But we still absolutely do plan to do Isle of Dread.
Is that, not sure if you can answer this or not, but I'm going to ask you anyway. Is that going to be an expansion?
Gosh, I hope I'm not sticking my foot in my mouth here. I really don't see a scenario where we could do that content justice and not give it the kind of scale that would probably put it into expansion range.
Okay. Then can the next paid expansion be a Planescape / Outer Planes theme with Gith Yankee? Finally.
Sorry, Sev, you can't ask me questions on the live stream. No, I don't know.
That does sound like a Seb question,
It
but
does. No, I know he has a particular interest in the Gith Yankee.
He does love the Gith Yankee,
yeah.
yes. I
So-
talked to him at Gen Con about the Gith Yankee last year.
No, I don't. I don't know what our next might be. If we were to do another plane, I know there's quite a few options that are out there, up to and including, say, like the astral plane, things like that. But nothing at all to announce. I mean, there's a lot of cool things we could do.
And finally, the final question: if there's going to be no new season pass again, how about offering some type of daily gold rolls somehow?
It's certainly something that has been suggested. I can let our e-commerce team know that there are certainly folks who would enjoy that, right? I think that the daily gold dice is something that those who did take advantage of the season pass 2 years ago have found to be maybe of particular benefit to them. So I would not be surprised at all if there was quite a bit of demand to offer something like that in the future. But we certainly have nothing to announce, and I wouldn't even want to say whether it would ever happen.
No problem. Thanks. And yeah, I know a couple people that did really love those daily gold rolls with that season pass. So I'm sure there is more than just I know of.
Okay, let me take off my official community manager hat and say, when I saw that we were doing daily gold rolls for 2 years, I was like, oh my gosh, are you kidding me? That's amazing. Yes, please.
Yeah, exactly. Yes. And Isla Dread, yes. Dinos, yes, please. More dinosaurs. Hobbits riding... hobbits. Why did I say hobbits? Halflings riding dinosaurs.
Halflings riding dinosaurs.
You know it has to happen. I mean, come on.
I think Isle of Dread is going to be a very good choice for us, frankly. What do you think about all the mounts and just kind of work that we've done in recent years? I think it's going to lend itself to Isle of Dread, hopefully very, very well.
And that brings up, I just thought about a long time ago, way back when, you guys talked about Desert of Desolation.
We've never, no. I wish I could say that there has been a time where we legit had announced something like that. The Desert of Desolation, that series is my personal all-time first edition favorite. So I would absolutely love to do that series, but we've never.
Maybe that's what it was. Yeah, maybe it was just like that was one of your if we could do it things.
Yeah, but it's certainly nothing that has ever by the company been, even hinted at that I'm aware of.
Yeah, it might just be. Now that I'm thinking about it, I think you're right. I think it was just one time I was talking to couple of the devs and you. I think that was just because I said if you could do any, that's what it was. Because I had asked if you could do any module, and Watsy would say sure, go ahead and go for it. That was that's what it was.
Pharaoh in particular, although the entire series lost to Mamartech and all that stuff, I think would be fantastic.
So good. Oh,
I
so good in DDO.
Love that stuff, and I love those old covers. There's nothing I don't like about them. So let me just say this. I guess if I say it on the air, then it has to happen, right? Yes.
Right. Exactly. That's how it works.
Unfortunately, we're not, but yes, I wish we were.
All right, cool.
Yeah, what's really is that the first module in that one was the one module that was most begging of all the written modules that most begged for someone to give a Monty Python response to it.
What was the first? I'm trying to think of what the first module was.
That there's one point in there where someone asked you, "What is your name? What is your quest?"
Oh. Yes. Okay. I know the part you're talking about.
If you answer, if you lie, so and half the people give a Monty Python joke in response to it.
Right. Yeah. Exactly. I mean, because of course you would.
Right.
I mean, seriously, how cool would it be to be riding on like a desert ship, fighting purple worms and all the other stuff too?
I know. Oh my God, the possibilities. But alas.
I also want Land Beyond the Magic Mirror, although that's probably a very unpopular choice.
That would be a weird choice, but it would be fun to see what you guys would do with it, for sure. And I still say Tomb of Horrors, too, because I would love to see you DDO-fied Tomb of Horrors.
Yeah, I don't know. The trick with Tomb of Horrors is that it has a lot of history to it, and people love it. But if you actually try to play it, it's a deliberate meat grinder. So how in DDO would you successfully do a Tomb of Horrors, but also make it so that, by and large, the party is expected to complete the Tomb of Horrors?
Yeah, that's true. DDO Central is also bringing up another one of my favorites too, Castle Amber. That would be a great one too, because it's, as he says, it's so weird. It is. That's a very weird module. It's fun though. It's very weird.
Yeah, with Tomb of Horrors, I think the problem is that a Tomb of Horrors was designed as a tournament dungeon.
Right.
And a tournament dungeon, you want to make it as tough as possible because you're saying, all right, if someone whoever gets furthest along in this is the winner of the tournament or something like this, and of course you can't make it so easy that anyone could make it.
Let's be honest too. Tomb of Horrors was created because Gary Gygax got tired of his players thinking they were invincible, and he said, "I'm going to show you. I'm going to kill you all."
Okay, there is that too.
So that was just the ultimate DM FU dungeon. So you know what I mean?
Yeah, you got a point there.
All right, we are done with questions.
Then let's head into our week in gaming. And Drac, what were you up to?
Well, I did some D&D 5e, played on the Waterdeep Dungeon of the Mad Mage. That is episode 5. That's over on Evil Beaker's YouTube channel. I have the video linked. That's the bonus D&D night content. We always play this, and then every once in a while, we're actually on D&D night on DDO stream if there's like an extra weekend or whatever. Waterdeep Dungeon, the Mad Mage gets to play on that, but if not, we always play over on Evil Beaker's channel. This was a new episode. We haven't played for quite a long time just because of real life and everything going on. So we were excited to get back in it. I'm gonna spoil it a little bit. It ends on a cliffhanger. You have to watch this episode. I'm gonna spoil the end, so if you don't want to get spoiled, tune ahead about maybe a minute. Ends on a cliffhanger. I failed my death saves. So
Ouch.
Am I dead or am I not dead? I don't know.
Well, and this title, The Wizard's Parenthesis.
Yeah, well, that you have to listen to the episode. It makes perfect sense.
It makes perfect
Makes perfect sense if you watch the episode. And if you
punctuating wizard.
And you kind of understand the group that's playing this game, that totally makes sense.
Okay.
But yeah, so yeah, tune in the 23rd, October 23rd is the next time we're going to play. And that, of course, I said is over on Evil Beaker's channel. I did link this video, but yeah, cliffhanger end. You have to tune in to see what happens. Because I don't even know what's going to happen. I might have to roll up a new character. Who knows? Then I played some tabletop. Played old school Hero Quest, the original Hero Quest. Of course, we've been talking about Hero Quest here of late because, of course, it's coming back with a updated reprint. Well, let me just rephrase that. A reprint of the original with updated miniatures. We'll put it that way. And maybe some new, I don't know. Next week we're going to talk about Hero Quest because I want to go on a rant, but this episode's running long now. So I'll save the Hero Quest rant until next week. It's okay. This was with my group of friends. Of course, this is the I affectionately call them the undMables. That's the group of people I'm trying to kill in D&D, which I have not successfully done as of yet. So I thought, okay, you know what? I'm going to kill him in Hero Quest because if you haven't played the original Hero Quest, it can go bad really quick, and characters do tend to die in Hero Quest. I had everybody down to 1 hit point. 1 stinking hit point. They found the boss, which I don't know if I should say spoiler alerts for Hero Quest because it's so old, but I guess I'll give a spoiler alert. In the first quest, the boss of the dungeon is in the center room, and it is the Gargoyle, who is pretty badass, actually, for what it is against dead players. So everybody was down to 1 hit point. The dwarf, the wizard cast some, I forgot what spell he cast on him, which gave him an extra combat dice. And then he had an item that gave him an extra combat dice too. So he had like a lot of combat dice. He rolled in, just ran into the room, and one-shotted my gargoyle. One-shotted the boss. And they had one stinking hit point left for all of them. I was so mad. So mad.
Drac dice.
Oh my god, because I gotta admit, it was pretty epic. I wish we would have been videotaping this, because this would have made like an epic video series to like put up on YouTube, because it was like an epic one of those, everybody is literally standing up around the table. We're just waiting for the dice rolls. We're like watching the dice go around the table. They're spinning, they're stopping, and then everybody got real quiet, looked at the dice rolls, and then everybody erupted in cheers other than me. I was just like, what in the hell just happened? How did you kill my boss in one shot? So yeah. That's my friends, folks. That's what they do to me. So I will have my revenge in Hero Quest.
You will have your revenge.
I will kill them in Hero Quest, and I will kill them in D&D. It's coming at some point. Then I also played Unmatched Cobble and Fog. This is the one with Sherlock Holmes, Dracula, and I can't for the life of me remember the other two, but it's the fighting game from Restoration Games. We played that. We played Godzilla Tokyo Clash. That's a fun game. I have some issues with that. We were talking. For one, the board on it is super dark, and a couple of the buildings that you put on the board, some of them actually have little miniature buildings you use, and some of them just have like tiles that you use for the buildings. Unfortunately, the tiles that you put down for the buildings match the board really, really well, and they're hard to see. So we had the brilliant idea, my friend and I came up with the idea of using Monopoly houses for that. And then there's trains in this game, and they're just little pieces of cardboard too, and we're like, Ticket to Ride trains would work perfect in this. So next time we play this, we're going to add our little pizzazz to it and see what it looks like. But it's a fun game. This is basically, it's a kaiju monster game. You're in Tokyo. You're all trying to destroy Tokyo. Super fun. We really enjoyed it. Then we played Marvel United. This is the new chibi game from Come On. It's little chibis and your Marvel heroes. You have a story deck that you're playing out. What's interesting about this game is, though, one of the heroes plays a card, and it's got actions on it, and then the next hero will play a card. That hero can also use the card in front of his. So, like, if the player ahead of you had like 2 attacks and like a special action, and you played 2 attacks and maybe a move, you would get 4 attacks, a special action, and then a move, because you get to use the card in front of you, which I thought was kind of unique, and it kind of makes you really talk to each other and plan out your strategy. And it's like, okay, I'm going to play this card, so do you have a card that will work great with this card? Because we have to do this step and this step to be able to even get to the boss. So we won, but barely. We were almost out of cards, which is one way you can lose. And we also just about were out of health too. So that came down to the very end. Looking forward to playing that again. I'm going to try that solo, actually, and see how it plays solo. And then speaking of solo, I played Escape the Dark Castle, which is a solo-only game that you use cards. You're really, the title says it all, trying to escape a dark castle. Each character has their own sets of skills that you can use. Some monsters you need, better skills than other monsters. Totally got just annihilated quickly. Super hard game. Super, super hard. Gonna try that again. And then quickly in video games, didn't play any DDO or anything else this week. It's because Baldur's Gate 3 kind of took up a lot of my time. Yes, Baldur's Gate 3 is in early access. Got a press review code, surprisingly. I didn't even know it was coming. And then I got an email from the press company, and they're like, hey, here's a Baldur's Gate 3 code for you. And I was like, what? So enjoying that. Not very far into it. Of course, it's early access. There's a lot of bugs. But I did see today they just came out with another patch, and they're coming out with another patch, they said. So they're working on it. But if you play early access, you'll know what you're...
bugs.
Yeah, you're expecting bugs, and you know what you're getting into. I'm going to make a video of that soon, just like my first impression kind of look videos. So look for that soon. And then over on Xbox One, played another game that I'm playing for review as well. It's called The Suicide of Rachel Foster. This is kind of a weird game to explain. It's a walking simulator / mystery game. You play... Oh, shoot. Give me 1 second. I got to look it up. I want to say it's Dotnod.
Funny. That was going to be my guess. It might be
Yeah,
like
I'm
yeah,
pretty sure it's...
Daedalic,
Oh,
actually.
Daedalic. Okay. Yeah, it's like I said, it's at its heart, it's a walking simulator. You play the daughter of this person that you go back into this hotel that your family owned. You haven't been there since your early teen years. Your mom and you left because your dad had an affair with your friend, which, do the math, you can figure out how old the girl... It's kind of creepy. It's really uncomfortable in parts. I'm going to talk about that in the review, but if you get past that little weird age part of the story and how they handle that, because once again, that's coming up in the review, it's a really... The atmosphere is great. The hotel is like broken down. Nobody's been in it. So it's kind of like there's some like jump scare moments. There's a lot of mystery in it. If you're familiar with the game Firewatch, it's kind of like that because you have a walkie-talkie and there's one person you're in contact with, and that's your only contact to the outside world because you got stuck in this hotel because of a snowstorm. You were just supposed to go over there and like sign some papers for a lawyer, and you were just getting rid of this hotel because you wanted nothing to do with it because you're trying to, forget your past, basically. And then you get snowstormed in this hotel, and then you have this walkie-talkie, so you're with this FEMA agent on this walkie-talkie. He's your only link to the outside world. You and him form a friendship. You start finding stuff out. Then you
Don't spoil it.
Right. No, I'm not. I'm not, because
I don't know.
Because there's
it
like...
sounds like my kind of game, so...
There's one part that I was like, my jaw literally hit the floor because I kind of saw what was coming, and then it happened, and then I was like, oh my God. So yeah, like I said, small little caveat though. The person that your father had the affair with, what was your friend who was at the time 16, which was of legal age consent in the state that the game is set in, but the way they handle it is really kind of weird. So it's kind of heavy in that aspect, and I wish they would have handled that a little differently than how they handled it. But that's all I'll say about that. You'll just have to play through it. But I'm enjoying the game, though, a lot. And there's a couple parts where, like I said, I didn't see, because I thought the story was going to go one way, and then it was like, oh my gosh. It totally went another way, and I'm like halfway through it, so who knows how it's going to end up. But once again, that's called The Suicide of Rachel Foster. I do believe it is available on PC as well. I'm playing it on Xbox One. That's the code they sent me, but I think it's on like all the consoles and PC, if I'm not mistaken.
Now,
but yeah, go ahead.
Concerning Baldur's Gate 3, based on the page that they have for that on Steam, it sounds like it might not be Piney friendly.
Oh God, no. No.
Okay.
Well, I mean, I guess if you look over some stuff, but no, it's the story. I'm not going to spoil it either. The story of Baldur's Gate 3 is very dark.
Okay.
If you watched, I know we talked about it when the trailer first came out. There's something that happens in that the trailer, the announced trailer for it, that probably I would assume is not Piney friendly, and you would just be like, nope.
Okay.
And Suicide of Rachel Foster, probably not Piney friendly either.
I gathered that.
But if you play that, Cordovan, I want to know what you think about it.
Now, I was a little concerned by what you were saying afterwards, but we'll take a look.
Yeah, that's my only, and I'm gonna bring that up in my review. That's my only problem is how they handle that aspect of it. It's kind of uncomfortable and creepy in spots. Just due to the subject matter and how they handle it. I wish they would have handled that a little differently.
I play a ton of different kinds of video games, and walking simulators and spooky walking simulators. I'm down just about any time for one.
It's gonna say it's that pretty much checks all those boxes, and then it's like, a mystery on top of that, and then you're trying to solve the story, and then stuff opens up, and then there's other stuff that you're like, oh my god, I didn't even know this was gonna happen, and now I got to figure out what this is, and so like I said, I recommend it, other than kind of uncomfortable in spots. I mean, it's not graphic at all, it's just the way the story plays out, and you find stuff out about what happened, and then it's in that way it's uncomfortable. It's not graphic or anything like that. And that was my week.
Then I'll go into a little bit of my week. We'll begin with what I did in DDO, where I ran with my Alchemist. My level 6 Alchemist ran the Promise of Fire, so I have to be just the right level for that one. And in there, I was set out to seek the Eye of Fernia. Now, after looking for the Eye of Fernia, and after looking for the Eye of Rhysia in another one, I hope that we never have a quest where we have to look for the Eye of Mabar.
Oh, I'd be all for that.
You'll be for the
Let's
Eye
do
of
it right
Mabar.
now. I am Mabar, sure. Let's do it right now. Let's go. Make it happen, Cordovan. Make it happen.
Yeah, why not?
Yeah, the Eye of Fernia, huh? Like I said, I know nothing about this quest. I have not even seen anybody. I haven't watched your video yet. I guess I'll have to watch your video now. I haven't watched anybody else. I didn't go on Lamania for this, so I know nothing about this quest.
Are you available for tomorrow, or are you?
I am, yes.
Okay, so how about we find a pair of level 6 characters and run the Eye of Fernia.
Cool, let's do it.
Okay. And at the end of that, my character there reached level 7. Then in solo cons, we had two, since it's been a while there, we had the entirety of the solo con based on app games the last couple of weeks. And let's just say I ran lots and lots and lots. I have a large number of app board games, and I ran a good percentage of them over the last couple of weeks. So if it's an app game that you've ever heard me mention, I probably played that in the last couple of weeks. Probably the most noted of them would, of course, been Wingspan, which is a relatively recent release. Then the solo con that came after that, the one that just started, is about the North, because remember last month we had the one for the West, or we're eventually going to go through the Compass Rose. So this week we started the one in the North. And I ran a couple of things that were a little bit north, they're going slightly north, but eventually the most recently ran game in there that I brought out of my haven't played in a long time pile was Arctic Scavengers, which is a deck builder that has an official solo mode in it. So I played the official solo mode in there, and I went through there, and I'm thinking, as I was going through this, I think there are a couple of holes in this, and that if you want the optimal strategy to win with the most points, you would have to just go as long as possible before going in and committing yourself to things, and that you might be able to easily get to maximum there. But sounds like that will just make it get boring eventually. So I thought maybe I was reading the rules wrong. So I go to the Board Game Geek site, and I found a review of it for the solo mode. It was done by Liz Davidson, and probably of all the reviewers at the Dice Tower, she's the one I've agreed with the most often. So listen to it, and her and her summary of what it was like in there. Let's see if I could find that. It was something like, "It gets, believe me, it gets old soon," or something like that. Pretty much saying, yeah, what I thought was completely true is like it just feels like it. You just grind away in there, and you eventually get to okay, very bad solo mode in my opinion. And some people complained to her because she was reviewing the official one instead of the unofficial one that everyone used. I said, "What do you but she's a game reviewer. What do you expect?" But anyway, that's what I tried to do in Arctic Scavengers. It's probably going. Now I know why I put it onto my let's not bother playing this shelf for 5 years. Then in other tabletop games, I also played Warp's Edge, which just came out. So I just received my copy of that. That's a single player back builder game. I also finally got Black Sonata, which I just got I got that along with the expansion that just came out. I finished it off by playing a little bit of Welcome to, playing the Halloween map on for Welcome to. And that's my week. Cordovan, what have you done this last week?
Sure. Well, so most of this past week I was actually camping. So, you know, not a lot of time to play electronic stuff there. Although I did have my Switch with me, although I didn't really play much. But I guess if we go a little bit wider out, I've been mostly doing a lot of time on internal game builds for both DDO and Lotro. Obviously we've been getting ready to release, this Fables of the Feywild pre-purchase and update 47, and then on the Lord of the Rings side, the War of Three Peaks. So a lot of my actual game time has frankly been kind of half work time a little bit. But I have had some chance to play a couple other video games, and I've also had a chance to do some recent tabletop, both virtually and in person. And so I brought out some of the classics, like Settlers of Catan and King of New York, which is the follow-up to King of Tokyo, corrects a few minor rules deficiencies perhaps that exist in King of Tokyo, and is a really fun game.
Which I think is better than King of Tokyo, to be honest.
I do too. That's the one that's why I bring it up, frankly, is I really want to recommend, if you really want a fun game that you can play as a family, King of New York is just fantastic. I really, really love that game. Otherwise, virtually, I've actually been playing with some of my old my twin brother and some of my buddies from high school, and now we've just been getting online using like Tabletop Simulator to play some games that we all own in real life. And I've been able to play Boss Monster again, which I really, really love Boss Monster. And we also have been beating our heads against Forbidden Desert, if anyone's ever knows about that kind of co-op survival game where you're trying to survive your way through a desert crash. And we keep getting, we're all skilled tabletop gamers. You would think we'd be able to do this thing.
Yeah, no, that game is hard.
It is hard.
Hard. Yeah.
But we're having fun with that anyway. So yeah, I think that's mostly what I've been up to. And then also, I did mention, I actually went out, despite all the COVID-ness, to a flea market for my birthday over the summer, and picked up a whole bunch of classic video game board games, like Zaxxon, Q*bert, Miss Pac-Man, I've got the Pac-Man card game. All these, Battlestar Galactica, which isn't a video game.
Oh, no way.
All those old, bad, but old, late 70s through mid 80s
right.
Parker Brothers games. And I'm going to be doing a series of those in the near future as well, probably live somewhere or other. All these games are truly, truly terrible, but they're also really kind of great in their own sort of historical and cultural look. They're really fun to look at. So, that'll be fun.
Yeah. So when you say Battlestar Galactica, you're not talking about the semi-co-op game that has pretty good reviews.
Correct. Yeah. No, that's actually a very good game. I would recommend that. But
no,
this is like, back when if there was a TV show, there was a board game for it, and it was probably released by one of two companies. They just churned this stuff out. You see Three's Company, A-Team, all these shows just have
Dynasty. There was a Dynasty game. Yeah.
And in some ways, kind of we saw it again, frankly, I think in this Kickstarter era to some extent, with people sort of attaching IPs to game concepts concepts to try to make it into the market. So I think to some extent it's a bit of history repeating itself there, just under different contexts and circumstances. But they're fun to look at, and they're also fun to make fun of because oh my god, are they bad? Universally, if there's if there's a good one, I guess we'll find out, but it's unlikely.
Yeah, I'm just trying to think back to like all those IP games back then, and no, I can't think of any that were actually. Well, I mean, back in the day, I thought they were good, but now that I think about it, now that I played some of them again, it's like, yeah, no, this game's horrible.
Because most of them are accounting simulators. You're randomly rolling the dice, you're randomly going across squares, maybe something happens, and then sometimes randomly you go back squares. That tends to be the depth of their rule sets under an IP. And maybe they'll have cards or a few kind of change scenarios, but at their core, the game complexity is very, very thin.
Yeah. We currently have 14 supporters on Patreon. If you'd like to help support DDO players, you can go to the donations page. You can support the Players Alliance on Patreon. Your money would be used for our podcast hosting, website hosting, and to pay for our live shows. If you would like to donate without joining Patreon, you could contact Drek at ddoplayers.com. The Players Alliance has an email address, podcast@ddoplayers.com, and you can also follow us on Twitter, the Players Alliance @PlayersAlly, DDO Players @DDO Players, Dracula @Dracula_72, and Piney at Piney Mules. And you can follow our guest Cordovan at Jerry Snook, or for DDO at DDO Unlimited. And of course, you can visit their website, www.ddo.com. The Players Alliance has 2 shows on Wednesdays at 7 p.m. U.S. Eastern Time. We have DDO Players, and on Saturdays at 8:30 p.m. U.S. Eastern Time, we have Loach Players News. You can choice for our shows at ddoplayers.com/live. And that's all for tonight. And this is Positive News reminding you to quest responsibly.